Right, so we are recording. Okay, we're good, I think. I put the heated seat on for you. I know you like it. Okay, let's go for it.
Now then, it's Burnsy. Sorry, I'm chuckling. But welcome to our regular Curiosity podcast, the CuriosityCast. There's nothing regular about this episode. Every episode, we take questions asked by members of the public in Hull and try and get them the best answers from the very best brains in the city. Not all questions are about Hull. They can be about whatever you want to discover. For this episode, with a difference, we're on the move. In what can only be described as a moment of madness, producer Dave has agreed to turn his 12-year-old Skoda into a mobile recording studio, and we're going to try and make a cohesive half-hour show about the A63 corridor, or as much of it as we can fit in. It's like a really crap edition of Top Gear mixed with Last of the Summer Wine. Your cast today, I'm Burnsy, producer Dave is here, and the man with the idea, Angus Young, is in the back seat. Now then, Angus, how are you? What was the thinking here?
Well, I thought we could go on a technical journey into the future here and see what the changes are on the A63. One big one in particular that's happened recently.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a really good idea. And
not just the A63 though, is it? Not just the road, it's the corridor. So it's the buildings and businesses either side as well, which is what I think is really interesting.
I couldn't imagine doing this at the BBC, because the form filling would have been massive.
The health and safety would have knocked it into cocked out, wouldn't it?
But we're here. I am genuinely looking forward to it, because I've been down the new A63 and through the underpass a couple of times, over the underpass and what have you. I think there's good things to discuss. Do you see it having a big impact, Angus? Are you feeling any impact already?
I'm feeling a bit of impact on the back seat, yes. Not too sure how the springs are doing here, but yeah.
The suspension was an optional extra. I decided not to buy it.
I've put the child lock on so it can't jump out and run away.
I think the big thing that interests me is how smooth this is going to be in terms of a run from, like I said, the Humber Bridge all the way through to Salt End, because it is supposed to, the underpass, the whole A63 Castle Street development is supposed to make a smooth east to west, west to east journey for the main route in and out of Hull. So let's see if that transpires today, or do we get held up somewhere, potentially Victoria Dock roundabout, or do we get zooming through without a hitch. That's one of the big interests for me. And as we can see, Humber Bridge ahead of us now, so this is the start of the journey from the highway to Hull to the highway to Hull.
Very good, I like that. We'll be discussing all sorts of stuff. We'll maybe kick off with something we've not got to yet, but I'm just checking Dave's speed in the 12-year-old
No, we're doing it's exactly 60 miles an hour. I've got it on cruise control.
Right, he's got it on cruise control. And, when he bought it second-hand, they forgot to throw in the indicators, I can tell you that much. But anyway, you may get an expenses claim for a pair of underpants later. We'll see how we go. Let's start with the serious stuff. One of the first things we'll see and talk about, Angus, is St Andrew's Dock, the Western Docklands development, and the Lord Line. You pick which way you want to go there in terms of where you want to start.
For the listeners, we're just passing under the Humber Bridge.
Fasten your safety belts. Yeah, it's we'll start with St Andrew's Dock, which leads on to St Andrew's Quay, and then onwards into the Western Docklands themselves. We've talked about a long time what's going to happen to the derelict bit of St Andrew's Dock, with various ownerships. I think there's 3 or 4 ownerships on the site. It's been a long-standing eyesore. We've talked about it for years and years, Dave. Is anything going to happen to the Lord Lane building? Various dodgy owners have been involved in that building over the years. We won't go any further for legal reasons. But we have a new-ish mayoral authority led by Luke Campbell. And recently the authority published what they call a growth plan for the next 10 years, and that is a policy document which sets out where they want to be policy-wise and what they're going to be doing. And in that plan was a proposal for a new mayoral corporate development zone. And what that means is taking over particular sites with enhanced powers of compulsory purchase, to basically bring...
Because that's been one of the great problems, the kind of land banking that's gone on there.
To bring sites, undeveloped sites, into one single ownership. And if that happens, and there's no reason to suggest it won't at some point...
Only history suggests nothing will happen, Angus.
Well, only history, yeah. But if we look across in the other direction to where we're going, in Manchester, at the other end of this long road, they've got 8 development corporations under their mayoral leadership, Andy Burnham, all development sites, including the Old Trafford site, which is proposed for a new stadium. So that's the way that central government sees mayoral authorities, combined authorities, that sort of thing, in terms of getting a hold of a site, bringing it all under one ownership, getting the infrastructure sorted, and then attracting investment. And that could well happen. It's going to be the first one in Hull, and it's earmarked for St Andrew's Dock.
And would central government put in a fair chunk of money to get it going then, before you turn to the private investment?
Yeah, there would be money from the government that would be given to the mayoral authority to get on with the job. And that's how it works. And basically, they provide the platform for private investment to come in once they sort a site out. Now, obviously, St Andrew's Dock's going to take a bit of a job to get it ship-shape and ready for investment, because it's been neglected for 30-40 years, hasn't it?
Well, would Lord Line survive in this, or because there are some in the city, and I wavered personally, wouldn't knock it down and crack on? Would the building survive?
I don't know. It'll be up to whoever takes over the investment. I would agree with you. I think it's time to knock it down. I don't really see the point of it. I don't see the point of any of the other buildings there. They're in such a bad condition. You can build something as a facsimile to it, but otherwise I would say get rid.
It's a shame.
You got a view on it?
I think it's a shame. I think if we let it go to rack and ruin, it's another one of them. Well, it has, but I'd like to see it saved if at all possible, in whatever form, because otherwise the people who've allowed it to get into that state win, and I think that's a real disgrace. I
would like to see the actual, what's left of the actual physical dock, turned back into some sort of water-based space, because I think that is important, just as important as a building that's fallen to bits.
Is it going to be commercial? Will it be some residential? Is there any word on what kind of mix it might be?
I think it's looking at commercial business. That would be the way forward, I would guess. And this development corporation, as I say, extends along the Western Docklands. We're just sort of coming up to St Andrew's Quay now, which is the retail part, and we can see Lord Line in the distance. But the development corporation idea would be to extend across the entire Western Docklands. So as we're coming into Hull, it would include Albert Dock, English Street area, and ultimately the bit just before the underpass, where you see the big space on the side of the road where the old Arco headquarters has been flattened and the compound was there for the roadworks, but also Smith & Nephew, which is part of it is staying. Smith & Nephew obviously relocating some of it to a new factory in Melton, but all that sort of area is going to come under that same, that's the plan, the development corporation, to bring investment into that sort of area under a more streamlined ownership.
Dave, if you're ever looking for a second career, you could get one as a bus driver on tours, because you crested the flyover there as Angus said, Smith & Nephew.
Beautiful.
We could see Smith & Nephew on the horizon.
I used to be a stunt driver for the movies. Well, you're right, though, we've just passed Lord Line and it is an absolute wreck, isn't it? It's a shell.
It is a public debate. Just a quick one. What sort of timescale on all that, Angus, are we talking about?
Well, the current mayoral sort of term is for 3 years, and then there's a review of whether it's effective or not. So I think they'll be going through the motions for the next 3 years in terms of trying to get that into place. I don't expect anything on the ground in those 3 years, but certainly getting things ready, teed up, funding agreements, land agreements, ownership agreements, that sort of thing.
When does Smith & Nephew actually go?
I don't know, to be honest, but it's looking fairly close to finishing up at Melton now.
Angus, you were talking about all this Western Docklands stuff and the Lord Line and what have you, and it's the mayor's responsibility. That's a lot of responsibility on Luke Campbell's shoulders. Is he going to be up to it? Because I mean, he's been taking a fair amount of bad press recently.
Yeah, it's a big job for a big personality, and at the moment he is struggling, and he continues to struggle. We're now nearly a year into the mayoral authority. It's really sort of slowly taken off the ground. It's not really hit the ground running as he promised, and you need somebody with a real dynamism to drive this sort of thing forward. Whether he's got that or not, I don't know. You need to be politically savvy, you need to have your business connections, you need to be out there, and you need to be banging on doors and making things happen. The jury is still, I'm afraid, very much out on that.
Okay, but the government are going to drive it, and they're making all the positive noises about putting the seed money in, etc., etc.
Yeah, the government are driving it, and I think the two local councils and indeed the combined authority need to make this happen, because a lot of time and effort has been invested into getting this thing up and running, getting the devolution deal in the first place, and there's a lot of people with a lot of time, money and goodwill invested in it. It just needs that kick-starting, and I think to give people confidence that Luke Campbell and the people on the combined authority can deliver.
See whether they do. It's important for the city.
Let's see whether he turns up for work a couple of days and cracks on with it.
Remember, he is an Olympic class boxer.
Was. We all got to see it eventually, Dave. We're living examples of that.
Oh dear. Fine.
We're on the flyover. We're coming through to the exciting bit, the underpass. This is Angus's first time going west through the underpass. You should see his little face.
Are we there yet?
We're nearly there.
We're nearly there.
Not a great view from the back seat for the lad.
Passing the Alexandra Hotel, which I think may well have just won an award.
It's just
for
won a
best
camera
pub.
award, yeah.
Yeah, and
Beautiful pub.
I've never been in it. I've been invited and never been in it. I have been in the Vauxhall Tavern, Frankie's Vauxhall Tavern.
I knew you'd turn this into a pub crawl.
It's lovely. It's not a pub crawl. We're on the new surface. We're going under the green pedestrian bridge, which is not as obviously as sexy as the bridge we will go. So here we go. We're going down into the underpass. My initial thought when I went through this is 355 million quid. Really?
Yeah.
Angus, what do you think?
Very impressive, very smooth. What I would say is an awful lot of brickwork, and I'm just shuddering at the thought of somebody getting up there with a graffiti paint and daubing something horrible on it.
Right. This is my potential worry. Traffic coming out from Ferrens Way on your left. We're going under what I like to call Burnsies Bridge.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to go left now to King Billy, as these two cars in front of us are doing.
You're right. Look, there's somebody undertaking me. I'm in the right-hand lane and somebody's underneath me.
Yeah, there's traffic wants to come out from the right. Onto the main carriageway. I think it's a tricky junction. My advice to people would be watch out for that junction coming through town. The traffic merging from both sides is a little tricky. The Arco headquarters, Angus, when are they? Because they're moving out of town, which seems a strange move.
Yeah, well, not quite out of town. They're going off to their other distribution centre just at the end of town, if you like, near Hessel.
Yeah.
They're relocating their office staff there, so that office building is currently advertised for.
And here we go. Look,
rent.
this is what we mentioned. The congestion has moved along to Vicky Doff.
Yep.
So we've come all the
Have
way
you
from
got boils
Hessel.
in your toe, Dave?
Well, he didn't move, did he? I'm not taking
that's
that.
because he stopped.
No, can I just point out, we haven't crashed.
Yeah,
No.
true.
I braked a bit harder than I'd liked, but we were way off hitting him. But it proves the point, though.
Yeah.
That's we've hit the first traffic light since Liverpool.
Yeah.
And what it's done is just move the congestion further across town, hasn't it, at the minute? And didn't you say, Angus, there's going to be some more roadworks happening down this way as well?
Yeah, there is. I mean, we've got past that. It wasn't too bad, I think, but there was a bit of a stop, I suppose. There's plans to upgrade 4 roundabouts. The first one we're coming up to now is the, I think it's the one outside the prison, isn't it? Is the first one. All to be upgraded in the next 12 to 18 months, I think. The funding's in place. It's come from the Freeport company. and it's to enhance the Freeport sites at the end of Heddon Road, just after you get to Saltend. There's two big Freeport development sites. So, yeah, Victoria Dock roundabout that we've sort of like staggered through is a bit of a hold-up. A lot of people are sort of saying, what's the point of the underpass when you just get stuck there? And there are traffic lights there, like you say. The whole idea was to get rid of traffic lights totally, but those traffic lights remain.
You can't keep building underpasses, can you?
No, you can't. I don't know the technical details of what the upgrades of these roundabouts are going to be, but I know historically they've been tricky for big lorries to get around. There used to be a regular slew of lorries going over on these roundabouts. I don't know what the angles are on it, and they continue to have shed loads of whatever being distributed all over the floor. The occasional lorry.
Because we're coming up to the roundabout at the Heddon Road Hilton, aren't we? Here, and it is quite a swing left as you come. So is this a place where lorries have gone over?
Yeah, all the roundabouts on this route have had lorries going over. It is a bit of a swing, like you say.
It'd make an excellent distraction for a prison break. All the police had come flooding to the accident, and they could get out over the back wall into graveyard.
There is a film in that, isn't there?
I'm going to say we're passing Siemens, and it is nice to see industry back in the city. As somebody who remembers the fag end of the fishing industry, it's nice to see big industry in the middle of all. It's lovely.
Has that had the impact that we all envisaged, Angus? Siemens?
I think from a jobs-wise it has, because it's had the factory extension. So I think there's about 2,000 people working there, which, like Dave says, it's nice to see 2,000 people in sort of skilled manufacturing, all from Hull as well, or at least Hull and the surrounding area. So it's a big employment boost. You can't really see the factory too much on the road, but once you get a bit close to the site, you see the old blade that used to be in Queen Victoria Square stood outside of the factory, and it is nice to see. And they seem to have a long future in Hull, because the factory's expanded and they've got big long contracts to service the North Sea.
Has there been any further? You just passed Port of Hull, which dock is that? Alex Dock? I can't remember.
King George Dock.
King George Dock.
Where the ferries are.
What I was going to say, has there been no more amusement all about having the cruise venue? What's the word I'm struggling for?
Cruise
terminal. No, I think that's still in fantasy land, to be honest. It's costing a lot of money, and I don't think they've got the momentum from that is gone, unfortunately. What we have got, we did pass it very briefly when we came out of the underpasses, the marina upgrade. We've had new...
we've passed that.
We
were talking about Burnsy's Black Spot. We didn't get to the furniture. You've had a walk around the furniture. Is it nice?
Yeah, the new walkways on... here we go.
An ambulance there. Sorry, ambulance.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the walkways, Humber Dock Street and Prince's Dock Street have all been tarted up with money from National Highways as part of the A63 scheme. So it looks very nice, to be honest. Split opinion, some of it's play themed, so you get sort of some strange things popping up there, like a giant snail sculpture, giant flower pots on Prince's Dock Street with trees inside of them. Supposed to be a bit fun, family orientated, but I think very smart, and I think very popular as well. It's a very high footfall sort of area, so it's going to have to be well maintained down there.
Yeah, and we're heading into the season for Humber Street and the marina, aren't we?
That's right.
With the better weather. I should have taken double my heart pills this morning. We nearly ended up in that ambulance.
Well, that was very aggressive driving by the ambulance driver. It's got to be said.
Yeah.
I was trying to get out of his way. He's suddenly, he's happy with his sirens.
Yeah, well, let's make sure we send a condolence card to the family of whoever was in the back of it. We're coming up to Saltend, at the Freeport site at Saltend. We're in the right sort of area. You mentioned it. Who's funding all this, Angus?
Yeah, there's two big Freeport sites at the bottom end of Hesel Road. One of them is between Heddon and Saltend, which is on the old Heddon Aerodrome site. That's the Yorkshire Energy Park. It's a partnership behind that. Locally, the Sewell Group are involved in it, but that's an energy park, the Yorkshire Energy Park. Hasn't been developed yet, but the idea is once the access roads and these roundabouts are improved, then that's a greater incentive for people to move there. and the other site is just beyond Saltend, between Saltend and Paul out on the river. And that's a site that belongs to ABP, so they're the ones who are the landowners and the developers on that one. And again, the road access onto that site, it's all greenfield at the moment. Saltend Haven, if you know that sort of area. It's a bit remote. You go down the side of Saltend, nice walk down there. And there's big industry. It's a big sort of distribution site. That's what it's earmarked for. And as I understand it, there's a very big local employer who's interested in plonking a very big shed on that site. But we'll create a lot of jobs down there.
All right. Well, I do hope you've enjoyed this special edition of the Curiosity Cast. Kudos, Angus. I have to say, I think it was a good idea. I don't know what it's going to sound like once Dave's worked his magic on it, but I enjoyed it. I found it informative, and it was a bit of fun. Apologies to anybody that we might have disturbed their journey through Hull, which was actually okay, which I think is probably proof in the pudding. Okay, we're doing it sort of midday-ish, that you can get through. So if you've any bright ideas like Angus to do different things with the Curiosity Cast, do let us know. That's it for this episode of the Curiosity Cast. We didn't crash. We weren't a danger to anybody else, I don't think. We all live to podcast another day, and we hope we managed to spread some light on developments along the A63. Do remember to keep in touch with us via curiosityhull.co.uk, or follow and friend us on the socials, where we're Curiosity Hull on all the main feeds. We'll be back very soon for more quality answers to whatever question you'd like to ask. And if there are any TV producers listening, we're available for that Channel 5 series.